Be honest. How many times have you said yes when every part of you wanted to say no? Maybe it was another project at work or a favor for a friend, and you felt that wave of guilt crashing before you could even get the word no out. If that sounds familiar, you're in good company. Recent research shows guilt is the #1 reason adults struggle to set boundaries. But here's the truth. Saying no doesn't have to ruin relationships or make you look selfish. In fact, when you do it the right way, people respect you more. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how. Welcome to the Mindful Communication Revolution. I'm Stephen Walters, and I'm here to help people like you build lasting confidence through small, intentional communication habits. I call it the confidence formula because it's not about pretending to be confident. It's about practicing simple strategies until confidence becomes who you are. And here's why this video matters so much. Every time you say yes out of guilt, you chip away at your time, your energy, and even your self-respect. But it doesn't have to stay that way. In the next few minutes, you'll learn 5 practical strategies that make saying no simple, guilt-free, and respected. And to make it even easier, I've created a free guide called 10 Polite Ways to Say No Without Guilt, filled with practical scripts that align with the strategies we'll cover today. I'll show you how to access it at the end of this video, so stick around, because once you have these tools, you'll never feel stuck for words again. Think about the last time you said yes when you didn't want to. Maybe it was agreeing to take on another project at work, even though you were already behind, or promising a favor for a friend when you had no time left for yourself. You just told yourself it was easier to just say yes than to deal with the guilt. The problem is, those easy yeses don't stay small. They stack up, and before long, the weight of them becomes overwhelming. For many professionals, taking on too many commitments has become one of the biggest sources of stress. Therapists even have a name for it: fawning, a people-pleasing pattern where you prioritize others to avoid conflict. The result? Exhaustion, resentment, and a life that feels like it belongs to everyone but you. But here's the part most people miss. Setting boundaries the right way doesn't damage relationships. It actually earns you more respect. So the big question is, how do you start saying no without guilt and without burning bridges? The answer is simpler than you might think, and it's the foundation of something I teach called the confidence formula. Start with one small strategy, practice it, and let the results compound. Let's walk through the first one together. Respect yourself first. The first step is simple but powerful. Respect yourself first. Because before you can expect others to respect your time, you've got to show that you respect it yourself. Picture this. You're in a meeting, and every time you try to speak, someone interrupts. It's tempting to shrink back and let it go. Instead, you take a calm breath and say, "I'd like to finish my thought before we move on." Notice, this isn't aggressive. It's clear, calm, and confident. That one sentence tells others your ideas matter and reminds you that you deserve to be heard. The first time you use a phrase like this, you might feel nervous, and that's normal. Confidence doesn't grow in the absence of nerves. It grows through the practice of respectful action. Every time you speak up with clarity and intention, you're proving to yourself that your voice is worth it. And that is step 1 of the confidence formula. Stacking small, repeatable wins until confidence becomes part of who you are. But what about setting boundaries with others without sounding harsh or confrontational? That's where the next strategy comes in. Set clear boundaries without apology. The second step is learning to set clear boundaries without apology. Boundaries aren't about being rude or pushing people away. They're about making expectations clear so your relationships stay healthy. Imagine this. A friend keeps texting you late at night, expecting instant replies. You want to be there for them, but deep down you feel drained. Instead of silently resenting it, you say, "I really value our conversations, but after 9 p.m., I'm unavailable. Let's connect earlier in the day." Notice how that works. You're protecting your time without damaging the relationship. In fact, most people will actually respect you more for being honest about your limits. And this isn't just my opinion. Poor boundaries are one of the biggest reasons people end up burned out. And the longer you ignore them, the heavier the cost becomes. Setting limits isn't selfish, it's survival. Every time you set a boundary like this, you're not only teaching others how to treat you, you're also teaching yourself that your needs matter. And that's another step in the confidence formula, practicing small, repeatable actions that build identity-level confidence. And hey, while we're talking about guilt, don't feel guilty if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet. Go ahead and click it now, and you can check that off your list, guilt-free. But even when you know your boundaries, you might still feel pressure to be nice all the time. And that brings us to the third strategy, one that can completely change how people see you. Don't always be nice. The third step is letting go of the idea that you have to be nice all the time to be respected. The truth is, being overly accommodating, even at your own expense, doesn't earn you more respect. It often earns you less. Picture this. A coworker asks you again to cover part of their project. You want to keep the peace, so you agree, even though your own workload is already overwhelming. Later, you feel resentful and they start expecting your help as the norm. Now, imagine a different response. You take a breath and say, "I'd love to help, but I can't take this on right now. Maybe we can find another solution." That one sentence shifts everything. You've been kind, but you've also been clearer. And here's the surprising part. People often respect you more when you're direct than when you always say yes. This is how confidence works in real life. Each time you practice an honest no, you're teaching yourself, I can set limits without losing connection. And that's another building block in the confidence formula. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I'll say no, but I always end up apologizing for it. And that's where the next strategy comes in. Replace over-apologizing with appreciation. The fourth step is replacing unnecessary apologies with appreciation. Because when you apologize for everything, even things that aren't your fault, you don't come across as more polite. You come across as less confident. Think about it. How many times have you said, "Sorry I'm late," or "Sorry to bother you," when you didn't actually do anything wrong? Those small words chip away at how people perceive you and at how you see yourself. Here's a simple shift. Instead of "Sorry I'm late," say, "Thanks for your patience. I appreciate you waiting." You're still courteous, but you're not putting yourself in a guilty position. One of my students made this change. She stopped saying, "Sorry for bothering you," in all her questions and started saying, "Thanks for taking the time to answer that." The difference was instant in her demeanor after that, and she felt more confident to ask more questions. Psychologists note that over-apologizing often signals insecurity and can make people perceive you as less capable, even when you're highly competent. But when you reframe with appreciation, you project both respect and confidence without arrogance. That's another layer of the confidence formula. Small language shifts that build identity-level confidence over time. Look, words matter, but so does the way you carry yourself. That's why in the next strategy, we'll look at how confident body language can make your no twice as powerful. Strategy number 5, display confident body language. The fifth step is to back up your words with confident body language, because people often decide how seriously to take you before you even finish a sentence. Picture this. You walk into a meeting with your shoulders slouched, avoiding eye contact. Even if your words are strong, your body is telling a different story. Now, imagine the same moment, but this time you walk in with your head high. You make steady eye contact, and you keep your hands relaxed at your sides. You haven't said a word, but people already see you as more confident and capable. Simple adjustments can change everything. Try standing tall, uncrossing your arms, and holding your gaze when you say no. These cues signal that you respect yourself and invite others to respect you too. When you combine strong language with strong body language, you double your impact. That's a cornerstone of the confidence formula, stacking small, intentional habits until confidence feels natural in every part of you. So now you've got 5 powerful strategies to start saying no without guilt. But here's the real secret. It's not about trying them all at once. It's about starting small and letting confidence build over time. So let's bring it all together. you've learned 5 powerful strategies to help you say no without guilt. Respect yourself first, because if you don't respect your own voice, no one else will. Set clear boundaries without apology. Honest limits actually earn you more respect. Stop trying to be nice all the time. Directness with kindness is more powerful than constant yeses. Replace over-apologizing with appreciation. Gratitude builds confidence where guilt tears it down. And 5, use confident body language because your presence often speaks before you do. And here's why starting this now matters. People who commit to practicing saying no, even for just 1 week, often notice a real difference. Less stress, more clarity, and greater confidence in their relationships. Sure, it feels uncomfortable at first, but the results come quickly. By the end of that first week, many describe feeling lighter, freer, and more respected. So, if you've ever felt like guilt was running your life, remember this. Confidence doesn't come from saying yes to everything. It comes from having the courage to say no when it matters most, and doing it in a way that feels both kind and strong. Now, as promised, I put together a free guide called 10 Polite Ways to Say No Without Guilt. You'll find a link in the description. Download it today, and the next time guilt tries to sneak in, you'll have the exact words ready so you can protect your time, energy, and confidence. And if you're ready to go deeper, my course, The Confidence Formula, takes these strategies even further. It gives you a complete system to practice, stack, and lock in the habits that make confidence second nature. But don't stop here. If you found this helpful, the next video you'll want to watch is how to navigate difficult conversations without losing your cool. Click on it now. I'll meet you there. And together, we'll keep building your confidence. Thanks for watching. I'll see you online soon.